All right? We are the Hebrew Israelites. We come out week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this society and the upliftment of Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians who are biblically the children of Israel. All right? We're going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. All right?
Isaiah chapter 43, verse 1. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. When thou passest through thy waters, I will be with thee.
Right.
And through the rivers, it said, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee.
Exactly, man. And that flame, I mean, we was just talking about this off camera, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were literally thrown in the flames, man, of the nation of Yasha Allah, man. And the fire didn't touch them, man. Their clothes weren't singed or anything, man. And that's the time we're coming in. We're coming in the time of YAHAWASHI, restoring the identity of Israel. Matter of fact, jump to Jeremiah 17:4. Because according to prophecy, the nation of Israel were going to discontinue from their heritage. All right? They were going to forget who they were, man. And then they were going to remember themselves, which goes into Ezekiel 37 chapter, man. You got it, huh?
Jeremiah 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy inheritance,
right,
that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies,
right,
in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
Exactly, man. So every time the nation of Israel went off, the Lord prescribed certain punishments on them, man. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 46, or start at 45. Because the Lord did a contract in the first covenant. And that contract said, you follow the commandments of the Lord, He was going to bless you. And if you didn't, there were going to be a set of consequences or curses that were going to befall your nation, man. And the Lord said that He put those curses on them for a reason. You got it.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
right,
to keep His commandments and His statutes which He commanded thee.
Right.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
So these curses were going to be on the nation of Israel as a sign and a wonder, man. A billboard, if you will, on a nation of people, with these curses being the headliner. Neon lights. This is the children of Israel, according to all the curses that are under them, that they are under, man. You got it. Yeah, you got it. I'll finish that one off.
And upon thy seed forever.
Right. And that forever in our language means a long period of time. It doesn't mean forever as in the way of the Western thought, man. It's in the Eastern thought. In our language, there's either something that has already happened, something that is happening, or something that will happen. All right? So that forever right there did not mean for eternity. It meant for a long period of time, man.
Real Bobby
Because the Lord said that He was going to redeem our nation. And we just got that in Isaiah 44, the 43rd chapter, that the Lord said that He was going to redeem us, man. He was going to redeem the nation of Israel from among men. The modern doctrine is that Israel, the nation of Israel, are only going to receive land as an inheritance. But the Lord prescribed many promises and many prophecies concerning the nation of Israel that have simply not come to pass, man. You got it.
This Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
Right.
But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all His ways, and to love Him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul.
And that was the requirement that Israel had to meet to stay away from the curses, man. To live. Moses said, choose this day life or death, man. Because if you listen, that was unto life. And if you didn't, that was unto death, man. And it even plays out in individuals' lifestyle, man. If you don't eat, if you eat unlawful foods, your health decreases, man. And the Lord said anything that he does will stand forever, man. So it's folly to say that the Lord made a perfect law and then somehow made a mistake, man. That the Lord would send his only begotten son and now you don't have to keep the law. It's done away with.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 17. For the Lord, Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, your God, is God of gods and Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regard not persons, nor take it for war.
Exactly, man. The Lord don't regard the opinions of people, man. He chose a nation, and regardless of what you think, that nation still stands. The Lord said whatever he does it forever, man. If you could jump to Amos 3:1, because the Lord is only dealing with one nation, man. And it says that if the Lord chastises you, he deals with you as sons. Is not the nation, are not Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being chastised right now? Without a voice, without power, without justice? That's a sign and a wonder for the nation of Israel, man, that they're the children of God, man.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1. It is word that the Lord Yahawah have spoken against you, O children of Yahshua.
Exactly. The Lord put an address on everything that he said he was going to do, man. In this day and age, they say you sneak this. The Lord ain't sneak this. The Lord put an address on who he got a problem with. And it was his nation first and foremost, man. Because we have a contract with the Lord, man. If I wrote my son a letter, nobody can just come in my mailbox and grab the letter and say, this is written on the world now. The Lord wrote a letter to, if I wrote a letter to my son, and one of his college roommates grabbed the letter and read it, does that mean that everything that's in that letter is talking to him? No. That's the same thing with these scriptures. The Lord said that he was going to put curses on his chosen people. And the Lord is doing that, and now he's about to redeem them.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1. It is word that the Lord Yahawah has spoken against you, O children of Yahshua, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families on the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
And that's why our nation is being punished right now. Here it is, the scriptures clearly and plainly lay out all of the things that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are going through, and yet they don't want to acknowledge it, man. Because our people have become homeborn slaves, man. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they just want to get along. They don't want their own space. They want to live here amongst these people and just be as the heathens, man. And the Lord, that's not the will of the Lord, man. The will of the Lord is not to bring all people together. It's to separate the sons of Adam. Because there's a particular son with a particular inheritance that don't belong to nobody else, man.
Amos chapter 5, verse 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh upright.
Exactly, man. They despise anybody that speaks upright because our people don't stand for shit, man. They stand up online. They stand up on Instagram. They stand up on Twitter. They stand up on Facebook. But they won't get out here on the concrete and stand up for anything that they believe in, man. And that shows you how people have become weak, man. Here it is, the Lord has designed our nation to be above and to judge in righteousness, and they scared to even stand on what they believe in, man. Shalom, man. But yeah, what's up, brother? Yeah, man. But the Lord is creating a new thing in the earth, man. The Lord is restoring his nation, man. Because righteous rulership belongs on the planet Earth, man. And it's going to begin with the strongest of the Lord's chosen nation, man. And we're not talking about physical strength, man. We're talking about mental fortitude, spiritual strength, man. Faith, man. You gotta believe first, man. That's how this begins, man. And the Lord gave us the records, man. So anybody who... But the Lord gave us the records, man. The Lord told us who he made a covenant with, what's going to happen to them, and how he's going to resolve the matter, man. And now we're in a day and age where all nations have to pay for what they've done, and our nation gets to finally be lifted from the captivity. And now you have all nations coming around about. It said that all the birds round about the Lord's chosen nation are surrounding her, so to speak, man. All of them is up against her, man. And that's what we have. Whether it's Christianity, whether it's police, a systematic system of discrimination, all of these things are equivalent to the Confederacy that they made in Psalms 83, man. And them trying to maintain that, man.
Are you working your way there? Were you born into the family of God?
Isaiah chapter 64, verse 6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousness as a filthy rag. And we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquity, like the wind, has taken us away.
And that's exactly what the iniquities of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans has done. It's put us in America under the foot of our oppressor, man. Begging him to be nice to us, man. When he don't have a history or a record of being nice to anybody, man. Let alone our people, man. So the Lord is about to restore justice, man. You got in the land of Babylon, you got Department of Justice, you got judges that sit in courts, and none of them really seek justice, man. Because they won't go into how they created this place and what should happen to, what should be the judgment for that, man. That's because the Lord said the soul that is in him is not upright, man. And now we're in the time where the Lord is about to redeem his people, and he's giving them back their identity, man. And in the day and age where the Lord is giving back the identity to Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, what's happening? You got people that say they're spiritual Israelites now.
Verse 7, and there is none that calls upon thy name that stir up for himself to take hold of thee. But thou hast hid thy face from us and hast consumed us because of our iniquity. But now, O Yahawah, thou art our Father. We are the clay, and thou our potter. And we all are the work of thine hand. Be not wrought very sore, O Yahawah, neither remember iniquity forever. Behold, see, we beseech thee, we are all thy people.
Exactly, man. Our nation is the Lord's inheritance, man. And the Lord was beating our ass so bad, our people were sitting up in prayer like, Lord, don't do this forever. We know we made mistakes. And that's what we're doing now. We're not coming out here to say that we're righteous. We're coming out here to say that YAHAWASHI is righteous, and Lord willing, he'll save us, man. Because either way, what we say according to the scriptures is going to play out. Whether people love it, whether they hate it, it's going to play out. Whether these peons believe it or not, it's going to play out. That's why we're not out here to be pressed by no opinion of no vain man who didn't create himself. We speaking the word of the Lord. And these people not meant to believe it, man. The Lord says in the days of Noah, they were eating and drinking and getting married, man. They thought this place was going to continue forever, man, until rain started happening. It's the same thing. In this day and age, they're willfully ignorant. Because in that day and age, you didn't have a flood. You didn't have rain. They didn't see rain. They didn't see a judgment of that magnitude as the flood, man. So they thought Noah was full of shit until the earth flooded, man. How do you get fossils in that condition? Without sediment, without stuff that comes from the ocean floor, man. That's evidence of a flood on this earth, man. But the people in this day and age are willfully ignorant, man. And that's what you have, a willfully ignorant people, man. And that's why you have a society of gross darkness, where people have smartphones and they use it for all kind of folly, man. Not for knowledge, man. The Lord has increased knowledge and increased technology for you to edify him and not be ignorant. And now you have pseudo-intelligent people who will listen to science and false, I should say pseudoscience and evolution and believe that they deep. Who spent 4 years and paid $100,000 to be in an institution for 4 years to learn bullshit. That's why the Lord said he made foolishness the wisdom of this world, man. Here it is. True wisdom is being prophesied out here on the highways and hedges, and you ain't have to pay $100,000 to get it. And you shouldn't be paying $100,000. You shouldn't be charging to give it. You say freely give, as you have freely received, freely give.
This is Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 13. Only acknowledge thy iniquity that thou hast transgressed against the Lord Yahawah thy power.
Right.
And has scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree.
And this is the result of the scattering of our ways, man. Now you got heathens picking up the book out here, turning red in the face, trying to get the covenant that don't belong to them, man. And that's just one of the results of our mistakes, man. What we see on the planet Earth as Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans is our fault, man. It's our fault, man. Don't blame the so-called white man. He was built to do what he does. You're not doing what you're supposed to do, man. That's why the Lord sent the evilists, the basis of men, the bottom of the pot. Because we wasn't doing what we supposed to do, man. You got one?
This is Isaiah chapter 46, verse 8. Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old.
Right.
For I am Yahawah, and there is none else. I am Yahawah, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done.
And the Lord, that's what the Lord is doing now. You gotta continue on that.
Saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
So Deuteronomy 28:68 tells us that we was gonna go in Egypt again on ships. That came to pass. The Lord declared that when he took our ass out of Egypt. The Lord said that it was going to come a time in day and age when a woman was going to compass a man. And we're living in that day and age, man. All of these prophecies are coming to pass and people are willfully ignorant. Meanwhile, the scripture's just walking along the whole ride. The scripture's just, right, as time goes on, the scripture's just moving right along with it. All of these prophecies, and they can't put two and two together, man.
Where would your soul spend eternity when you die?
I'm going to start this again. Jeremiah 3:13. Only acknowledge thy iniquity that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God, and hast scattered thy ways to strangers on every green tree.
Right.
And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Lord. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans want to do everything and set every trend except righteousness, man. They want to come up with new dances. They want to show a better way to be wicked, but nobody want to stand up for righteousness, man. Well, now the Lord is starting to weed out the weak of our people, man. And he's starting to separate the cream of the crop from the rest of them, man. Because the Lord said that he has an elect of Israel, man. And that's what you're beginning to see, man. You're beginning to see prophecy happen, and you're beginning to see the nation of Israel, the true nation of Israel, rise up and assume their identity, man. And that was going to happen in the last days, man. It wasn't going to be a Balfour Declaration to put them in their homeland. It wasn't one to put them in the land of Israel the first time. The Lord did it with his own hand, and he's going to do it again, man. Regardless of if these simple people believe it or not, man. It's really not for them.
Jeremiah 3:20. Surely as a wife treacherously departed from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, saith the Lord. This Deuteronomy chapter 4, Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 5. Declare ye in Judah and publish in Jerusalem and say, blow ye the trumpet in the land, cry, gather together and say, assemble yourselves and let us go into the defense city.
Exactly, man. And that's what we doing. We out here crying aloud, man. Warning our people, man. Giving our people the sign and the alarm.
I got a quick precept. This is Matthew chapter 9, verse 37. Then said he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest.
That's one reason. We out here looking for labor. No one will come to the harvest. Meaning we're looking for more elect men. Lord's willing. We push the truth to the rest of the elect. Walking by, their ears stopped up.
That's perfectly asked. I hate that.
Isaiah 58, verse 1. Cry loud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
So we're supposed to show our people what they're doing wrong and why we're in the position that we're in right now. That's our main purpose, our main objective is to come out here as fishers and fish for the people of our nation who were slated to have salvation. Meaning that they were going to hear this message and understand it. They weren't going to walk past it, or even if they did walk past it, eventually it'll make sense to them. But that begins with the elect of our people, and that's what we're doing out here. We're supposed to cry loud and spare no feeling, and tell what's in the scriptures according to truth and honesty.
And let them know who our enemies is. We have enemies.
Right.
The nation Israel has enemies.
And judgment is coming. That the Lord is about to judge the earth, and 2/3 of our people have been prophesied to fall in that judgment as well. Only 1/3 of our people have been prophesied to make it out of this side. And the Lord has commanded us in what was that? Matthew 13, or no, Matthew 10, where he said, go out there and preach to the children of Israel, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Warning our people that, look, our time for salvation is not, but judgment is about to come as well. Just like you get hurricane warnings and tornado warnings, this is a spiritual warning.
What about the 12 tribes?
Ezekiel 37. So the 12 tribes, it was prophesied in Ezekiel 37 chapter that we were going to have a stick. And it was going to have Judah and Israel. Judah is symbolic of the southern kingdom, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Israel is symbolic of the northern kingdom, which is these tribes on down. Okay? So it was prophesied that we were supposed to have a stick or identify of who they are and what they're called today. So when they walk by, we'll get in the scripture.
Ezekiel 37, verse 15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. That's the southern kingdom. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And join them one together, and join them one to another into one stick. And they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these?
So you just did it. You saw the sign and you just asked us, what do we mean by this? And that's a way for us to break down who we really are according to prophecy.
I'm going to show you, but these kingdoms were split. The southern kingdom was split from the northern kingdom. This first king, chapter 11, verse 31. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 pieces, and will give 10 tribes to thee. So,
9 and 14.
Solomon, one of Solomon's sons took the northern kingdom.
When
Then the other son, Jeroboam, took the northern kingdom, Ephraim on down. Then Rehoboam took the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So they were split. So what I just read to you in Ezekiel 37, he said bring them back together. And when the people walk by, they supposed to ask us why we got this sign out here, but they don't. But you did.
You got it, bring a precept.
I got at the back of what you asked us earlier. While we out here, I got another precept for you. This is I'm gonna start at Romans 9 and 13, because everyone knows this one, right? For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved, right? This is verse 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
Romans 10.
Salaki, my bad.
10. Yeah.
Romans 10 and 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard?
Hold on. Now I said, how should they believe in him of whom they have not heard? Everybody heard about that man, right?
Khan, beautiful. Beautiful
Everybody
point.
know about him on the four corners of the earth. So what that, read that again. What's
Read it
that
one more
talking
time.
about?
It says, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
It's talking about the real Heavenly Father and His Son. Not that right there. Not this right here.
And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher?
How should they hear without a preacher? Right.
So that's why we.
Go ahead.
That's why we on the highways and hedges. So we're supposed to go to the chief places of concourse and preach this word so that our people will hear, and they'll ask us, what does this mean? Bring it out of the Bible. I want to see what you're saying. And this all meant to wake our nation up, beginning with 1/3 of our nation. So if you look, it's not just Negroes on here. You got the Latin kingdom as well. All of them are one tribe, one nation of people, divided into 12 nations, whichever son they came from. But we're supposed to come out here and tell them, look, this is the history, this is the prophecy. Break it down to them. That's why it says, how can you know if you haven't had a teacher? We were taught.
I got some more.
And then through us being taught, we come out here to give the same understanding that we have out to those who are willing to receive it.
I got some more.
Alright, so
Okay.
you guys want to teach these people who they truly are and let them up that they are the tribes of Israel. What do you say about the people who are not?
We tell there's another nation, there's 18 nations on the planet. Okay? This is one nation of that 18 nations. All of them belong to a particular nation on the 18 nations table chart. So they actually come up here and let's say about what we'll tell them who they are according to their nationality and their father's side. But it could be to the spirit. It's not a skin color, it's a spiritual thing.
No, but I'm just
Because
saying, even
throughout
though
captivity,
different
our
spirit.
people have had sex with other women. And through all of that mating and all of that dispersion and all of these different captivities, our nation is going to look like all other nations. That's why we're supposed to preach the word indiscriminately. And whoever receives it, we receive them regardless of what they look like. Because it's based on the spirit. Now, if they are of another nation, we'll tell them, look, if you are a so-called white person or a so-called European, you belong to this nation biblically. Because all people that are walking this planet Earth belong to a nation in the Bible. You can't get around it. That's the historical part of the scriptures. And we tell them who they are according to whatever nation they come from at face value. But we continue to preach the word, and if they receive it and understand it, we receive it. It's not about a color. We're not out here necessarily looking for it.
Preach
Just Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We're looking for the children of Israel. Whatever skin color and whatever type they come in.
Precept.
You got it.
This is Daniel chapter 9, verse 7.
I'm holding that. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. You get it? All
No,
right.
you got it. You got it.
O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them.
So we just went into that, how this nation of people have been in multiple captivities. The nation of Israel was put in shalom.
Shalom.
Our nation got put in our people got put in multiple captivities. So through all of those dispersions, our people have spread our seed throughout all nations. So we're not all going to come back being black and brown. So-called black and brown. We're really different shades of brown, but you're going to have some of our people that come back looking like a so-called Chinese person. Or a so-called white person. But biblically, as a nation of people, everybody belongs to a particular nation. So if they come up, that's how we live. They can receive it, that's how we understand it. And they could potentially be of this nation. Even if they don't receive it, it's a particular spirit that our people have, whether they have black and brown skin or not. It's not a skin color thing, that's a slander on our people.
That's Romans 8:16. Our spirit bear witness with their spirit.
Exactly.
They are the children of the Lord.
And that's a slander on the scriptures and what they have entitled and made mainstream of the black Hebrew Israelites. Is that we're all about skin color. But that's a slander because we're actually going to the scriptures and bringing out what we actually believe in.
got a precept for what he just brought out. He told you that Israel scattered their seed amongst everybody. You got that, Ezra?
Oh, no, I got Jeremiah. Go ahead, I got Jeremiah.
It's Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to their abomination. It said even the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, and the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves, for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of all those lands.
Hold up. Let me, this is back in Daniel chapter 9, verse 7. It said, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them. This is the reason why. Because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of faces, to our kings, to our princes, to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. And that's the sins that he was talking about.
Because when you go into the etymology of holy, it means separate. So the Lord said he made this nation a holy nation above all nations.
Beautiful.
The purpose for this nation to be above all nations is to judge in righteousness. Management of the earth, if you will. Joint heirs with the one that they ignorantly call Jesus. All right, it says that the nation of Israel are joint heirs with him. Okay, he's the beginning of the blessings that were prophesied to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But they're still going to receive that inheritance. So this is, the message is not about skin color. It's about the children of Israel being gathered wherever they were scattered.
Beautiful.
We tell them, and we preach it out, but if they don't believe it, then we're moving on. If they're willing to debate their cause, and they're willing to contend in a decent manner, we'll deal with it.
1 Thessalonians 5:21 says, prove all things. So between the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses,
everything be established. And I want to bring out something, precept for you real quick. This is Isaiah 28:9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And I want to bring out that point of here a little and there a little, because we're jumping around. That's how you're supposed to discern the scripture. The Lord gave each prophet a particular measure. And you're supposed to look at all of the measures and put those measures together. If they line up, then you're in the right direction. If they don't, then you're not in the right direction. It's not a contradiction of the scripture. It's a contradiction of understanding. You got to continue to dig.
The Lord is not the author of confusion.
Right.
That's why you're supposed to have a Bible precept. When you read one verse, it's going to give you a precept on that verse. You might read something in the Old Testament. It might send you to the New Testament. You might read something in the New Testament on that verse. It might send you to another verse in the New Testament. When you get to that next verse, it's going to be another precept on it. It might send you back to the Old Testament. It's got a precept upon precept.
Salakia.
And you still have to be scholarly, because some of those precepts will throw you off.
You're right, you're good.
Because some of them, but that's why you have a teacher as well. Because some, like we go into the Hebrew and the Greek.
Yep.
There are certain translations, but then you have updates of the translations that they originally had. So at certain things, you still have to be very scholarly and very detail oriented when you're going into it.
Jeremiah, you want to bring up?
No, go ahead.
Did you have a question?
No, another question. So, you tell everybody to be obedient to God?
Yeah. Well, we tell the world that judgment is coming for disobedience. But that disobedience begins with this nation, because they have been given a contract. If I write a letter, if your father wrote a letter to you and you were in college studying, and he said, son, I need you to wake up at 8 a.m. every day. I need you to get A's and B's in your homework. And And in return, every semester, I'm gonna give you $5,000. If you don't do that, you're not gonna receive that $5,000. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull you out of that school. Now, if your college roommate pick up that letter, does that apply to him because he read it?
That's a beautiful point.
So what we're saying is that this nation were given these laws, statutes, and commandments. That was in their contract. The law, statutes, and commandments belong in that contract. They were either going to be blessed for following it or cursed for not following it. There are particular curses in Deuteronomy 28 and 15 that tell you that these are going to be a sign on this people. If you wonder who the children of Israel are, look for these signs and these curses. Now we can go through the curses, but one of them is that the eye shall be equal towards his brother. You know, they love boasting about the black on black crime and all the crime that's a part of the curses as well. Now it's no excuse by people doing that because they're not supposed to treat each other like that. But all of these are meant to be a sign on our people so the world can identify, let alone the hope you elect, to be able to look at the curses and say, all right, this makes sense. Because we were on that side at one time too. All of us weren't born believing we were Israelites. But through studying and understanding, it made sense. And it's either gonna make sense or it's not.
Some curses.
Yeah, go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God.
Right.
And he said, if you do follow, with blessings. I'm going to tell you what he said if you don't. In Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all the commandments and the statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Curses, right? Now, read verse 37. And thou shalt become astonishment, a proverb, and a byword in all nations, whether the Lord shall send thee.
There's a derogatory term for Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in almost every country. No matter where Negroes, Latinos, and Native, just look at, go online, look at the internet news clips of a Negro getting arrested, and just look at the comments. All of that is part of the curses of our nation. Good enough,
Deuteronomy 28, verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
So it was prophesied that we were going to be on the bottom, and that people were going to lend to us, and we weren't going to lend to anybody else.
Who own the bank? Who lend us money?
During the recession of 2008, a lot of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were getting high mortgages with high interest rates that they couldn't pay. That's a perfect example. And even to this day, a lot of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have to go to the government to get funding for school. All of these type of things.
I guess you get the truth.
We don't transition wealth. If you go into the racial wealth gap, it's a
You get the breakdown.
that's almost impossible.
You got to come to the seminar.
You have outliers, you have certain sprinkles of families that are well off in our nation, but as a whole, there's a racial wealth gap that our people, there's a barrier, and it's only getting worse.
This is Deuteronomy 20:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. What that is.
Even after one of them.
Look at them. They couldn't get caught. Crazy. Now there's no other nation.
It'd be crazy. I see that video with the Caribbean ship. I see some of my video.
You when I read it? Read it again.
Oh, bro.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, meaning in food, in say in thirst, meaning for whatever water. It say in nakedness, you got to go to the Bible program, and in the want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
So now you see this picture. This will be what you might call the Southern Kingdom. Negroes like Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. But the Northern Kingdom also went on slave ships as well. And it's not pronounced in history as much, but it is documented. Okay, now this book is called The Devastation of the Indians by Bartolome de la Casa. And he was a priest that came here on one of the first voyages of conquest in the Americas, in northern, southern America, and all of the islands. All right, this is one of the accounts that he said. He said the Spaniards broke up marriages, separating husbands and wives, robbed couples of their children, took for themselves the wives and daughters of the people, or gave them to the sailors and soldiers as consolation. And the sailors bore them away on their vessels that were crowded with Indians. All right, all of them dying of hunger and thirst. He said, and hunger and thirst is one of all things. And truth to say, if one wanted to tell about this in detail, or to describe all the cruelties perpetrated, it would make a big book that would glorify the world. So the Lord made all of these things happen as what? As a sign and a wonder of the children of Israel in the last days.
This Micah chapter 2. This Micah chapter 2.
Well, I mean, basically what they're saying is if this is true,
don't build on another man's foundation. Don't build on another man's foundation. We're dealing with
How is
right
racism
now.
not the Bible?
the Bible doesn't say any of this.
Yes, it does.
I just read that.
I didn't hear any of this.
You did?
Because you have,
Remember when you read in Jeremiah?
you don't have ears to hear.
And it said, I'm going to send you. Well, you're right. They did again.
Yeah.
The Bible, if you read on in the Bible, especially the book of Judges, what will happen is the children of Israel were taken into captivity many
On slave ships? On ships?
No.
Okay. So that was prophesied in Deuteronomy that they would be taken away into Egypt on ships. You got a phone, you should look it up. You should
Yeah, I'm
look it
going to read it
up.
to you. I'm going to read it to you. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron on thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Verse 68. Is that not a yoke of iron on thy neck? Who that happened to? Did that not happen to the Negroes in captivity? Yes or no? It's a simple question. Did that not happen? Answer the question. I'm going to read it. I'm asking about the yoke of iron. Did that not happen to us? Sure. Okay. Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way,
That hasn't happened yet.
Not to you, but to us.
Hey,
it has.
Exodus,
Revelation 11:8.
go to Exodus 3.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Did we go into Egypt the first time on ships? We did? Did we go into Egypt? Did the Israelites go into Egypt on ships the first time? They walked, right? They walked into Egypt. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more, and there you shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Was we not sold for bondmen and bondwomen?
On auction and block, on auction and blocks, on Wall Street. I got. Hold on, this is hold on. Revelation. I got one.
Bring this up. Listen to this. He's trying to
Hey, Travis, before we get started, we already told you it has nothing to do with color. So we already explained that to
Let me
you.
ask you something.
That's same trying to take technology.
No, I want to ask you
Bring that out, bro. Bring that out.
This is Revelation.
This our platform, not yours.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
It's what?
Which spiritually
Spiritually called.
is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
It's a spiritually Egypt. We need to read, bro.
spiritually there is slavery.
That's what
Then
is-
if it's a spiritual thing, why are you
He
trying to
said
make
it's
this a
spiritual.
physical
This is
thing?
spiritual Egypt, meaning we got to go into slavery all over again,
But
like
if
the
it's,
ancient Egypt.
but if it's spiritually, then why are you trying to take a literal slavery?
because they were going to be literally in slavery in a place that was spiritual. Egypt.
We don't literally enslave, we will have a spiritual.
Hold on.
So no, so no, hold on.
Go ahead.
So no,
Go ahead.
no. Let's deal with that subject.
Go ahead.
Just say. So break down Revelations 11 and 7. Since you do have the answers, let's hear you break this one
This
down.
is Revelations chapter 11, verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
Yeah.
Break it down.
That's not the one. Go back to the one that you were on.
Oh, 11 and 8?
11
Okay.
and 8.
It
Some
says,
creature comes out of the bottomless pit and kills them.
it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
So break that down for us real
Well,
quick.
you see who that's talking about now?
Lord was crucified over there.
No, you see who that's talking about? In the context, let's read the context, okay? It says, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,234 days. Verse 3. These are the two olive trees, the two candlesticks standing in front of any man will work. Two olive trees. Two witnesses.
Who are the two witnesses?
What two witnesses? Them two witnesses.
Who are they?
Well, how you? But he says there are two witnesses.
Okay, so you don't know context. You said context. Hold on. I got this. Hold on. I'm calm. I'm not gonna go off. I'm not even gonna say nothing, man. He's a deceiver, man. That's why I be getting pissed. That's why I be getting pissed,
That's what I'm saying.
man.
That's
I'm
meant to
gonna chill out.
It's not, first off, okay, the dead bodies are not talking about Israelites. They're talking about the two witnesses. But first off,
Who are the two witnesses?
I don't know. But just because I don't
Oh,
know who
Lord,
they
Lord.
are doesn't mean that I know
Man,
them.
these-
But I'm
that's-
okay,
you know who
there's
the
the answer.
Wow.
I want to ask you
Devil.
something.
There ain't no answer.
Is there an answer?
That's your answer.
This will be
It's
pissing me
not the
off.
correct answer according
So
to the
it's
Bible.
an answer.
See, this
It's not correct.
edifying to him. What they do is they show discourse. They saw he was over here studying, learning, and they came over here to deceive him, man.
Yeah,
The
people
Lord
think
gonna kill him, man. The Lord gonna kill him, man. In the world, we call that being thirsty. When you see a man talking to a woman and you
No, what the scripture's saying.
That's what you're saying. And you're saying, and what you say contradicts what the church. Where it says, whosoever the called shall be saved. But if we say whosoever, but if it says
This
whosoever,
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. And it reads, lest there be any fornicator or a profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
What does that mean? Hold on. What does that mean? Break that down.
Hebrews 12.
Yeah, let him break it down. Don't say nothing. Let him break it down.
16 and 17.
Break it down.
Relax. We got the truth.
Fun,
We're not pressed by them.
Well, just right off the
They're not
bat, lest
pressing.
You're right.
lest there be any fornicator or profane person. What's for let me turn to it. Say you Corinthians. No, you got the truth. You're not worried about it. Right. You can take phrases by phrases. That's okay.
is this talking about the blessing?
1 Corinthians 5.
From the beginning, or do you remember 2 Corinthians? Remember how Jacob and Esau,
So this is
the blessing of that Israel, their father was going to give them?
this is Malachi chapter 1,
Okay.
verse 4.
Right.
Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
If Hebrews said, start off by saying
profane, right?
Yeah. We know that.
Fornicator or profane, right? Right?
Get to your point.
Get to your point. Talk to me like you're talking rude. Okay, start off by talking about that verse is talking about someone who is a fornicator and a profane person, right? He's saying Second Corinthians.
Let him go.
2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature, old things are passed away, behold, all things have become new. God doesn't reckon a person who has put their trust in Jesus Christ, a person who has been saved, God doesn't reckon them as a fornicator or a profane person, just like in Revelation where it says all liars shall have their part in the lake of